You are listening to Book Clips, a mini podcast in which authors or narrators do readings from novels. Check out the show notes for the synopsis and buy links for this book.
Hello, I'm Anna Larner, and I'm the author of 2 lesbian romance novels, Highland Fling and Love's Portrait. Excitingly, Love's Portrait is released this April 2019, and I would love to introduce you to it by reading an excerpt. In this excerpt, taken from Chapter 3, following a run-in with the very hot, but very reserved benefactor, Georgina Wright, Molly's been called into a meeting with her boss, museum director Evelyn Fox. What begins as a conversation about the intriguing and beautiful watercolor of Josephine Brancaster soon turns, to Molly's horror, into something much more personal. First impressions, Molly, we only have one chance to make a first impression. Evelyn was standing with her back to Molly, looking out the window. Her corner office commanded views of both the square and the front of the museum, enabling her to survey all around like a captain at the helm of an ocean liner. Molly glanced at the painting resting on Evelyn's desk. She recognised it as the painting Georgina Wright had brought to the museum. It had been partially unwrapped. She could just make out the features of a woman, her red lips, the gentle brush of watercolour defining cheek and chin and neck. The painter is unknown. Evelyn's voice startled Molly. Oh, I see. As you know, Georgina Wright of the Wright Foundation visited the museum this afternoon. If you recall, we spoke about Georgina this morning. Molly nodded. She wants to find out more about this work, in particular who painted it, for what occasion, the usual sort of thing. It belongs to her father. Well, belonged to her father, I should say. She was surprised to find that it wasn't included in the bequest. I don't know whether it's a value question or a sentimental question. Either way, we need to find an answer for her. Evelyn took a seat opposite Molly. Molly asked, does she know who the sitter is, or when it was painted? The sitter, she is certain, is her distant relative Josephine Wright, or Brancaster, as was her maiden name, and this is confirmed by the engraving on the frame. Okay, great. I'll see what I can find out. Molly moved to stand. Please sit. Evelyn leaned back in her chair and tilted her head as if to study Molly. Georgina and I didn't really talk that much about the painting. As it happened, our brief conversation turned to you. Me? Yes, you see, I suggested that I would be asking you to work with on this particular research, and I got the sense that, well, she seemed to hesitate at my suggestion, almost as if she was uncomfortable with the idea. Have you any idea why? No, we've never met before. I mean, she doesn't know me, and there's the point. We only get one chance to make a good first impression. Molly opened her mouth to speak. Evelyn raised her hand. I want you to learn from your encounter with Georgina Wright. I want you to practice exuding confidence, oozing capableness, embodying professionalism. I was trying to help her. When people come to a museum, they're not looking for help. One can get that anywhere. They are seeking authority. Evelyn fixed both her stare and her next question with a pointed aim. How old are you? How old? I'm 26. Well, I had no idea where the conversation was headed, but at a certain destination she had no wish to visit. She cast an eye at the door. Any possibility of escape seemed hopeless. Evelyn sat forward and perched on the edge of her seat. 26, yes, that's what I thought. This is a pivotal time for you. Molly swallowed. It is? Yes, in my experience, young curators' careers diverge at just the stage you're at. They all have potential, Molly. It is not a question of background or intelligence or even work history. Molly folded her arms, hoping they would somehow protect her from Evelyn's scrutiny. Evelyn's intense gaze broke and dispersed as she sat back in her chair. The difference between mediocrity and superiority are 2 things, poise and preparation. Molly wondered whether she should be taking notes. Give away nothing of your emotions. Molly, unruffled, shoulders back, chin lifted with a quiet certainty. Molly lifted her chin slightly. You will enter a room with a poise that suggests that no conversation or encounter will fluster you. You should always know who you are talking to before you begin to speak. Molly winced at the thought of how unprepared she would have seemed in front of Georgina Wright. No forms, no handshake, no. Allow your preparation to anticipate the content of the discussion, for it is the detail of what you say that will mark you out and that will speak of your authority. Do you understand? Yes. She had never felt so humiliated. Do not look so despondent. I am giving you a second chance to make a good impression for yourself and for the museum. You see, I still believe you can win Georgina over. I want you to do everything you can to secure the support of the Wright Foundation. I have absolute faith in you. So I'll see you Monday. Come to my office, say mid-morning, with a plan. Good night. Evelyn stood and opened her door. The meeting was over, and so Molly concluded was her career. On returning home, Molly sat slumped at the kitchen table, nursing a glass of red wine. Thank God she was home. Her day began crappy and ended even crappier. Yes, this was officially a crap day. She could hear Evelyn. "I still believe that you can win Georgina over." Maybe she didn't want to win her over. Maybe she didn't care. Who was she kidding? Of course she cared. But about her job and the museum, certainly not about what Georgina Wright thought. No way. Who did she think she was? How dared she pass judgment like that? What's more, how dared that stuck-up woman make her feel so small and in front of her boss? Who did that? What on earth did she say about her that gave Evelyn the impression that she was uncomfortable working with her? And why shouldn't she fill in forms like everyone else? And she could keep hotness to herself. No one at this table was impressed, no sir. So she was beautiful, big deal. And lots of women wore a suit really well. You just had to be tall and toned. Molly took a large mouthful of wine. And firm and strong and unyielding. She'd smiled, hadn't she, when they collided? Oh my God, stop. She was the enemy and Molly would defeat her with her astonishing plan of brilliance. Once she had one, of course. She reached into her bag for her laptop and typed in the words Josephine Brancaster 1800s. At least, she'd meant to type that. Instead, her fingers found the letters that formed the name Georgina Wright. She sat staring at the list of results. After eliminating those that suggested she played the ukulele, or cared for endangered rhinos, or taught at St. Joseph's Primary School, Molly found an entry that read, Georgina Wright, investment manager, Stay Street Investment Group. Money. She was certain that would be her. She clicked on the summary and was directed to the profile of Georgina. She was based out of London and was as formidable on paper as she was in person. Wow. Molly took a deep breath. Georgina somehow managed to make the tiny thumbnail photo look like a magazine advert. She was perfect. Her smile was warm and sincere, and she conveyed an effortless sense of poise and stature. There was something else. It was a natural confidence. Yes, that was it. Everything was safe in her capable hands. Stop thinking about her capable hands. Molly refilled her glass. Although, wait, did she look happier in this shot than when they'd met, or less tired, perhaps? Her eyes definitely had more light in them in this picture. Come to think of it, these were kind eyes that peculiarly didn't match the behaviour of the woman she met that morning. But then, she'd not long lost her father, hadn't she? She must feel so sad. It might be why she was so cold. Yes, that made sense. Maybe she should cut her some slack. Could it have been that Evelyn had also misread her? Maybe Georgina hadn't been uncomfortable with the thought of working with her at all. She would probably never know for sure. She stared one last time at Georgina Wright's photo, pausing to wonder whether being that good-looking was a burden, before closing the page's tab and typing Josephine Brancaster, 1800s. You've been listening to Anna Larner, reading from my new release, Love's Portrait.
You have been listening to Book Clips. Check out the show notes for the synopsis and buy links for this book. If you are interested in showcasing your novel, then check out the show notes for more information.